Several months ago, I got my Part 107 drone license, which means I can now fly drones commercially. Since I've been doing some drone videos, I've made several mistakes that have been costly, especially in terms of time, just in terms of doing reshoots, even spending entire days on it that I wasn't planning on, driving to location and reshooting some clips. So there's been a little learning process here, and I've optimized a lot of my strategy. I want to share that with you, so hopefully if you ever have your own drone video production or anything like that, you can avoid making some of the mistakes that I have made. So what I'm going to do is show you my setup and all of the different reasons for why I have what I have, and hopefully that will help you optimize your own setup. I'm Christopher Kapik, and this is my drone setup. Let me talk about the case itself. The case is a Pelican, and I cut out all of the spots with foam. The beautiful thing about this is I can simply close it up and carry it with this handle. It makes transport so much easier, which is huge when you're trying to get to a location and you might have to hike a ways or something like that. So this case has been invaluable, and I'm only going to make it better once I figure out a solution for charging. Get this out, and we'll talk through it. So starting off, my first drone that I have here is an iFlight Nazgul Evoke Dead Cat. It's a 6S drone. It uses the digital DJI goggles. And I use it for any more aggressive or longer range flying. Having the digital, I think, is helpful in terms of longer range things. I've run into a lot of problems with analog, but I've also figured out how to mitigate some of those problems. So depending on the shot, if it's wider open or I'm trying to do a more aggressive flight pattern, then I'll probably use this drone to start off. My second drone I have here is the ProTech 35. It is a Cinewhoop style drone, and I use this one for less aggressive shots, or shots if I'm flying through like the woods, for example, and there are a lot of branches coming in my face or something like that. So it basically just gives me options having two different drones depending on the shot that I'm going to do. Digital is good because I like the quality I can get over longer range without, you know, the hassle that you might need to give that same quality with analog. But analog is good because I have two goggles here, and I can have anyone I'm working with look and see where I'm flying and sort of guide if they have a flight path they want me to get for them. I keep my battery charger here. I don't keep the batteries in the case. I actually have a separate case for the batteries, just because if they catch on fire, I want my batteries to be separate from everything else. So this is a fireproof bag. It wasn't that expensive, I don't think, but it's specifically for guarding LiPo batteries. But the charger's here just so it's all together. Eventually what I'd like to do is have a bunch of cords in the bottom of the case that kind of poke up through the foam, which I've cut out, and charge things that way. But for the time being, this is just my setup. And I just give the charger out here when I need it. After my drones and my charger and batteries, I'll go through headsets. I have the DJI FPV goggles. I like these a lot. I find them to be very comfortable. The one complaint I have is that you kind of have to keep the straps tight so that the goggles stay in your head. Sometimes as you're walking to a location or something, if you have it on your head, it might come down if your straps aren't tight enough. I also carry some of the cheaper Eachine goggles. These are the first ones I got when I got into FPV drones. I fly with the DJI ones, but the Eachine one is good because I can have anyone I'm working with see my flight pattern and they can direct me if they need to. I have my controller here. I use the TBS Tango 2. I got the non-pro version, but I upgraded the gimbals. If you're going to get a TBS Tango 2, just get the pro version with the nice gimbals. I haven't added a module in the back or anything right here. All of my drones use Crossfire. The only problem in terms of range I've had is that when I was trying to fly, like, there's like a big hill with a bunch of rock and stuff in the way. Any line of sight thing I've never had a problem with in terms of range. Then right here, this is something I need to upgrade yet, but for the time being, I just keep my SD cards in a plastic bag. And this is a really important point. I've had so many problems with GoPros corrupting SD cards, and this is the solution I've found. Instead of having everything on one SD card, what's ideal is to have multiple SD cards and switch them out between shots. So instead of getting a 256 gigabyte card or 128 or whatever, get a bunch of smaller 16, 32, maybe 64 gigabyte SD cards and then swap them out between shots. That way, if one of your SD cards is corrupted, you still have all of your other shots instead of having everything on one card. That was a big mistake I made recently and very frustrating to deal with. For my cameras, I have two GoPro Hero 8s, and I have with me the Runcam 5 Orange, Runcam Orange 5. I haven't used this one yet. I'll probably make a video reviewing it later and comparing the best quality footage I can get from this to the best quality footage I can get from a GoPro. So the Runcam I have, and then I have two GoPro Hero 8s. The reason I have two is the first one, I broke the feet off the bottom in such a way that I can't replace them. You can buy replacement feet, but the way it's broken, I can't. Just take my word for it. They're not replaceable in my instance. So I have two. This one I use for freestyling. I don't really care as much about the quality of the footage. It's not like a cinematic shot that I'm going for. I'll use this one for a more cinematic style shot, or where getting the exposure right if I'm going for like some motion blur or something, and I need the ability to change settings. I'll use this one because I can just use the screen in the back. It has the feet in the bottom, and also I'm able to put a magnetic lens on the front, or a lens holder, and then I have a selection of ND filters and polarizing filters I can use to just throw on there and help match my exposure further. I really like to have motion blur in my shots. I like shooting at 30 frames per second in 4K with 1/60th of a second for my shutter speed. Having the ND filters is sometimes necessary for that because you can get pretty bright even at 100 ISO. I also have a GoPro battery charger here. It's not really usable yet, except for it's nice to have it there. Like I said, eventually I want to have cords in the bottom so I can have everything charging within the case. Last but not least, I also have a DJI Mini 2. This is a Fly More combo kit. This is not a review of it, so I guess I'm not going to get it out. I'm just explaining that I have it and why I have it. This is good for if I want to be prepared for a surprise shot, one that I don't know I'm going to get. And if I also want one of the more like smooth or like still shots, not an FPV style shot. So I just keep this here. The camera is not the greatest quality camera. It's a Mini 2. DJI has better cameras on different drones if you're looking for ideal camera quality, but this is more of a convenience thing, and sometimes there's just a shot that I need to be, the DJI style of shot, or I'm just trying to get a drone out as quick as possible because there's something I might miss and I want to make sure I get the shot. In general, I can get this drone off the ground in probably 2 minutes, maybe less if I have someone helping me. Another thing I will be adding to this is an electric screwdriver so I can easily take the GoPro on and off. Because I don't keep the GoPro on my drones, which are on the left side here. I keep the GoPro separate and I screw them on when I'm ready to use them. And because of that, it adds a little bit of time to getting ready. So these drones, if I'm working alone, it would probably take like 3 to 4 minutes for me to get it up and flying. If I have help, then I can be doing something while my helper is doing something else and get in the air a little bit quicker. Everything that I've done with this setup is an effort to minimize the amount of headaches I get. So minimizing the amount of reshoots we have to do for corrupted SD cards, having a lot of batteries. I think I have like 8 batteries in here, and I'll probably get more over time, which is good because then it just gives you more leeway and you can redo shots instead of having to go, charge, come back. More time flying, less time preparing and charging and whatnot is always good. So this is my drone setup. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll answer them. Also, if you have any suggestions, I'm always looking to optimize this further, and it's possible that you've thought of something that I haven't thought of. So if that's the case, leave a comment down below. I'd appreciate it a lot. While you're at it, give the video a like and subscribe. That'd be awesome. I plan on making more content on this channel about my drones, posting some of my flights, as well as explaining some of the techniques I use and just talking through some of the equipment I use as well. So yeah, I'm Christopher Kapik. Thank you for watching.